Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2022 Ford Edge, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. But before we get into that, let's just take a minute, check this out, and make sure it's going to work for you. When you're trying to pick out a trailer hitch for your Edge, there's a lot of different options available. And with this particular one, it's probably going to be my favorite in terms of hitches that are visible. So you're going to be able to see the whole hitch, but it sits up tight against the bottom of the car. It has that matte black finish and it matches the bumper really well. And so it kind of just blends, if you ask me. If you're looking for something even more hidden, there are ones that sit up a little higher and all you can see is a receiver tube. So that's an option for you. But with this setup, it's going to be a great all around kind of general purpose type hitch. You know, whether you plan on towing a trailer or using accessories, this will get the job done. We do get a lot of people asking about the hands-free liftgate assist, where you can kick your foot under the car and the hatch opens up. Wondering if it'll work still with the hitch in place. And the answer is yes. Unfortunately today our model don't come equipped with that feature, so I can't show you. But from ones that I've done in the past, it will work. It just take a little getting used to, kind of have to find that sweet spot, so to speak. But as long as you kick your foot to either side of the receiver tube opening, the hatch will open up. This is a class 3 hitch, so it's going to have the 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, and this is a super common size, so a lot of different things are going to work with it. It is going to use the standard 5/8 pin and clip. A pin and clip doesn't come with it. If you need one, not a big deal. You can grab one right here at eTrailer, or a lot of times too, if you end up buying a new accessory, they'll come with one, so just keep that in mind. These safety chain openings are going to be a plate style. And even though they're relatively small, they should allow us to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have on it. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have some pretty good numbers. Maximum gross tongue weight is going to be 600 pounds. It's going to be the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. So you'll be able to use pretty much any size bike rack or cargo carrier that you'd want to, for example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 4,000 pounds. That's the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. So the weight of your trailer plus anything you might have in or on it. I do always like to recommend though, it's never a bad idea to grab your Ford's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure your SUV can handle that much weight safely. Now we'll grab a couple of measurements and you can use these to help figure out what type of accessories will work best. If you go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 13 inches. So my recommendation would be if you are going to get an accessory, try to get one that has a rise in the shank, give you a little more ground clearance. That's going to hold true with a ball mount as well if you plan on towing. Most people, a 2 to 4 inch rise should do the trick. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 6 inches, and you can use that to help figure out that if any folding accessories you might have can be stored in that upright position without hitting the back of your Edge. Other than that, at the end of the day, like I said, this would be my favorite visible hitch available for the Edge. You know, it looks good and it's gonna let you get a bunch of stuff done. As far as the installation goes, really not too bad, not a whole lot to it, so as long as you take your time, stay focused, you shouldn't run into too many issues. With that said though, why don't we go ahead, pull into the garage and get it on now. To begin our installation, we're going to be here underneath the back of our Edge, and what we're going to need to do is remove some underbody panels. So we're going to have one on each side of our car. There's going to be a total of 4 fasteners holding each panel on, so 2 along this outside edge. I'm using a 5.5 millimeter socket. We can change out to a 10 millimeter socket and get these 2 removed. And I want to mention from this point on, anything we do to one side of our vehicle, we'll also do it to the other side because it'll be set up the same way. With all that off, you should be able to kind of pull down on our panel and set it off to the side. We're going to need to let the exhaust come down a little ways, that way it'll give us some more room to work. So before we do that, you want to take a strap, and I'm going to run it from side to side, tighten it up, and that way we can kind of control how fast and how far we let our exhaust come down. There's gonna be a total of 2 rubber isolator hangers, just like this. So I have one on each side of our muffler. Spray these down with soapy water, and take a pry bar and work one end of it off. Once you get both of them removed, you can then loosen up your strap and let the exhaust come down a little ways. What we're able to do now is get our hardware in place. And we're gonna have 3 attachment points. We're gonna be using this hole, this one, as well as this one. In the access hole, or the location where we're actually gonna feed our hardware into the frame, is right back here at the end of the frame rail. You can't see it, but you can feel it pretty easily. There's a large opening at the back here where it opens up. So we're gonna start with this one and then kind of go here and there. So you're gonna take the coiled end of your fish wire and feed it towards the back. Sometimes you'll get lucky, it'll come right out of there. Other times, you'll just have to reach up there and kind of help guide it out. There it is. When you're doing this too, be careful not to pull your wire through there, because then you'll have to kind of redo it, and then kind of a bummer. But what you're gonna do is take a spacer block and a carriage bolt, and that'll just thread onto into the fish wire. And I like to separate them and feed them in there one at a time. Until they drop in. The one on the side here, pull it all the way out until it's flush, and then just push it back in a little bit. That way, when we go to put the hitch up, that bolt won't be interfering with it. But we're just gonna do that exact same thing for our remaining attachment points here. Now, with the help from a friend here, we'll go ahead and take our pull wires and run them through the appropriate holes in the hitch. The ones on the flat part here will be the one closest to the back and the front, or vice versa. So run them through, and then you'll start to make sure the wires feed through here. Get it into position, and then usually you can pull this bolt through, and the weight of the hitch will kind of keep it steady. You can remove the fish wire, then take a flange nut and get it started hand tight. With the hitch supporting itself, we can then remove our other 2 fish wires. And they're also going to receive a flange nut. With all the hardware in place and in tight, and come back with a 19mm or 3/4 inch socket and snug it all down. Now we need to make sure to come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. Now we're able to rehang our exhaust, so just re-lubricate it, and with these, you usually just kind of bend them and slide it back into place. So I got the other side on already. The exhaust is supporting itself. We'll go ahead and get our strap removed. Now we can trim our underbody panel to get them back in position. There's a diagram of instructions, but essentially just cut out this portion. I'm using a pair of snips here. This is kind of thick plastic, so a pair of snips like this will work. Or a Dremel tool would do the trick as well. Anything along those lines. I went ahead, got our panel put back into position and secured it the opposite way that we removed it, with one exception. You know, you're only going to use the front 10mm bolt because, well, we cut the rest of it off and the hitch is in the way. So these are secured and we're good to go. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2022 Ford Edge.